Hello everyone. Today I will talk with you about postmodernism. You may ask, what is postmodernism? Before that, we have to talk about the queen of international pop, Madonna. Madonna's career has rested on her continuing image changes, some of which have outraged sections of the public and others which have been seen as more acceptable. What is significant here is how a career can be built on image, and on images that can change in a sense. Madonna's success is down to her ability to convince us that she can be a variety of things. Therefore, in the end, it becomes almost impossible to know the real her. In this way, Madonna can be apprehended as a postmodern myth. So what do we mean by postmodernism? First, the idea that Madonna is all about image is key. That is, that the ways in which we understand people and the world around us is through the surface appearance of things. It is argued that this has come about because of the media-saturated society in which we live, in which we are bombarded by images. These images are seen to have replaced the real world. We feel like we have seen polar bears in the wild because we have watched a natural history documentary of them, when in fact we never left our living rooms. In this way, experiencing the image of something comes to replace the thing itself. For proclaimed priest of postmodernism, Baudrillard, he calls this the loss of the real. And he argues we now live lives with little similarity to those lived by people centuries ago in a pre-industrial, pre-modern, pre-technological society. It is this idea that is central to the Matrix. Neo discovers that the world he thinks is real is in fact a simulation, nothing but surface. And he fights to dismantle that image and gain access to the real world. The Matrix is a film all about postmodernism. Indeed, The Matrix shows the contradictions of living in a postmodern world. First, the film prefers the real world to the imaginary one created by intelligent machines. Yet the film is itself all about surface and offers pleasures associated with the look of cinema. The much vaunted bullet time sequences, in which time is slowed down to an astonishing degree, along with the hyperkinetic action sequences and the fetishization of weaponry alongside the athletic bodies of its main stars, is itself postmodern because we are meant to enjoy a film with little connection to the everyday reality we know and understand. What is enjoyable is how the film looks, not what it says. And this is a key idea of postmodernism. In that way, and because of its name, postmodernism has often been understood in response to modernism. After all, it is post-modernism. Yet the link between modernism and postmodernism are open to much debate. It is hard to see where the one ends and the other begins. It is debatable whether postmodernism grows out of, responds to, or rejects modernism, or maybe the two are utterly unconnected. Whatever, it is worth bearing in mind that the two concepts are often seen as having some kind of connection. And therefore postmodernism is commonly placed in a historical context, coming out of specific social, political and cultural dimensions. Baudrillard is seen as one of the key thinkers in discussions about postmodernism. So next I will mainly introduce about his theory for you. His most famous or infamous work is The Gulf War did not take place. In Baudrillard's view, the Gulf War never happened, because the television images about the Gulf War we saw has been sorted by play. The public saw that it was far from being real or rock, but was virtualized by media with real-time broadcast capabilities. The documentary narrative works. What's more, for the photographers and the warring parties, they're in the real scene of the war, and for the masses who are lying on the sofa, eating snacks and watching TV, the war seems to be more like a video game. Baudrillard believes that the TV screen brings viewers into it to create an additional real-life event. This reality is actually more complicated in distinguishing between TV and life. At this time, TV presents us with an extra reality. This extra real is hyper-reality. The hyper-reality is happening in media because of implosion of the real and simulators. First, Baudrillard point out, we live in a world where there is more and more information and less meaning. He proposed 3 hypotheses. First is information produces meaning. Second is information has nothing to do with signification. The third hypothesis is that there is a rigorous and necessary correlation between the two to the extent that information is directly destructive of meaning and signification, or that it neutralizes them. Baudrillard thinks the loss of meaning is directly linked to the dissolving, dissuasive action of information, the media, and the mass media. He says, rather than creating communication, it exhausts itself in the act of staging communication. Rather than producing meaning, it exhausts itself in the staging of meaning. Information devours its own content. The mass media has caused no difference between media information and reality. Although contemporary society is full of information, the information created by the media is met, and the floating disease of information makes the meaning implosion, because the media simulates the scene through information symbols. The recipient can achieve the immersive effect while not present. For example, the audience around the world through the TV news has witnessed about 911 accident with the Americans. People have gradually equated these virtual symbols with real acceptance, even if they are truer than reality, thus forming the illusion of hyperreality. The medium constitutes the process of eliminating the boundary between real and virtual. In Baudrillard's view, the serious consequence that implosion may eventually lead to is the emptiness of meaning, because the media is engulfing meaning in the process of making real. This may be somewhat similar to the agenda setting in communication theory. Although the media can't control how we think, it can influence what we think. In the face of endless indiscriminate bombardment of information, the public has already felt uncomfortable in the face of various intents to make people buy, consume, work, vote, fill out opinions, or participate in social activities, and full of disgust. As a result, the indifferent mass became a melancholy and silent majority, and all meanings, information, and teachings were smashed in it as if it had been swallowed up by black holes. In the network of media manipulation, the public has completely lost the kind of thoughts, wills, and emotions that the subject philosophy has given to people. They cannot control their own real destiny, but can only be subject to public opinion tests, statistics, and so-called publicity. They can only choose silence in their numbness and infuse themselves into a silent majority without any social expression. The terrible thing about the mass implosion is that the whole society has not had any hopes and possibilities for rejuvenation after the implosion, and the social indulgence has become an irresistible historical fate. This is Baudrillard's ultimate anxiety. McLuhan also said that implosion will bring an era of anxiety, but this will not make electronic media the power of out of control. On the contrary, people can resist and jump out of the anxiety caused by the electronic media, and people's awareness of participation will be greatly enhanced. He firmly believes that by understanding the technical medium we can finally subdue and serve us. Obviously, in Baudrillard, implosion brings more negative effects and deviates from the significance of McLuhan's discovery and use of this concept. Although implosion was discovered by McLuhan, it can be said that Baudrillard has seen its power and influence deeper when borrowing from implosion. Power technology, especially electronic media, has indeed presented the trend of destructive power analyzed by Baudrillard. Baudrillard proposed the phenomenon of simulation and hyperreality for the characteristics of electronic media, analyzed its effects on society, and saw the subversive power brought by implosion. My sharing is over here. Thank you for watching.